Hey, good morning, everyone. Just wanted to make a quick reaction video to the Triple G Golovkin fight from last night. Thought it was an excellent fight. Treat for all fight fans. Very delightful tactical fight. I don't think it was what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think it went down the way it was billed. It was billed as more of a slugfest. I think it ended up turning into a very smart, high level, and intelligent back and forth fight where, obviously Canelo was focused on countering and Triple G was doing what he's doing, trying to cut the ring off and counter and get him into the corner and do his thing when he got up against the ropes. And, it was two men that were very good at what they do, trying to break the other man, and really didn't happen, in my opinion. Never saw either two really hurt too bad. They both landed excellent shots throughout the fight. I thought, just before we get into the judging and why I'm even making this video about the draw and folks' opinions about scoring, one of the things that before I even get into that, I had Triple G winning the fight 115, 113, 7 rounds to 5. Before the fight on Facebook, I had said I predicted Canelo to win. I had a lot of issues picking the winner for the last 2 years that we've been talking about this. I've been Triple G heavy, but then in the lead up to the fight, looking at tape and the build up and how Canelo could potentially fight, I kind of switched over. I've been very impressed with his boxing skills, his in-ring acumen going into the fight. And I think that him and Oscar kind of waited. They did play that weight game for Golovkin to get older, show some rust in that Jacobs fight. So I did see some of those things playing into Canelo's favor, which is why I ultimately decided to go with him, because I do believe Canelo's a better boxer than Danny Jacobs was. But with all that being said, I am not disappointed. I'm always disappointed when there's a draw in anything. That's just me. But I'm not shocked by the outcome, like many people are right now. And one of the reasons is you have to understand how fights are supposed to be scored and how they typically play out in excuse me with the camera angle, in Vegas. Oftentimes, I think if one of the things that can help people is if you take away the preconceived notions about each fighter. If you just look at each fighter straight up and down, coming into the fight, I think the fight would be a lot closer with folks on social media. I think right now people, especially Triple G fans that are so used to seeing his style, they view it as, well, Triple G was the aggressor, so he won the fight. And that's not always necessarily the case, especially against a guy who's going to go into a defensive, not necessarily a defensive shell, but be more of a counter puncher. And that's what Canelo has kind of built himself to be recently. Oscar, promoted this as Canelo being this brute that's going to come in there and swing and do all those things. And I kind of figured that wasn't going to be the case just on how he's fought recently. But you saw him take that approach today. He feels very comfortable against the ropes. He's going to wait and counter. And that's exactly what he did with Triple G. I thought Triple G made adjustments after Canelo won some of the early rounds that I think folks are forgetting about. I think Triple G made some adjustments and not just going in wild, but dictating when he was going to throw effective shots and trying to be sharper on his punches. I didn't think Triple G was as sharp as he normally is with his shots. Neither was Canelo. Canelo missed a ton of uppercuts, if you saw him, was swinging wildly at times. And so was Triple G. I mean, and part of that is the skill level of each fighter. Both guys, were very prepared for the other. But the thing is, Triple G fights I've only seen him fight one type of fight, which is coming forward, trying to cut off the ring, trying to corner a guy, and just beat him up. And he tried to do that with Canelo, obviously, and I thought Canelo countered beautifully at times. I thought his head movement, his defensive prowess at times was outstanding. And that is part of scoring a fight. People, you can't just give rounds to somebody because they're more aggressive and throwing more punches. Who's landing the effective shots? Who's controlling the ring? Who's dictating the fight? And that doesn't mean just coming forward. It's also, fighters are very good at fighting off their back foot, if you will. Many of them want you to come forward and throw because they can land many, many effective shots when someone is throwing punches because their guard is not up. Canelo is also very, very good at throwing to the body, as they showed, I think, on one of the statistics before the fight even started. He's one of the best in the world throwing to the body, particularly with the left hook. That was one of the things that I thought he executed at times early, and sometimes later in the fight. I would have preferred to see Canelo continue to stick with going to the body. I thought he got a little lazy at times with that, but overall, I think he was very, very effective going to the body, whereas Triple G really didn't. That wasn't really his MO. He was going more with straight right hand leads and hooks. But with all that being said, going back to the scoring matter, the only outrageous part about this draw is the 118-110. I think that's what's got everybody up in arms about the fight, because really, if you look at it, I had a 7-5 Triple G, but if we turn around here or there, that goes Canelo's way. If we turn just a round, it's 6-6. So, you know, and if we're talking about all these people judging the fight, then that's already in draw territory, really. But that third judge had 118-110. I think the outrage and the disappointment with this being a draw is being directed towards the woman that scored the fight that way, when in reality, those of us who observed the fight, I think most people had Triple G winning a close fight from the reaction I've seen and some of the boxing pundits on the internet and ESPN and whatnot. So I think most people had it that way, but at the same token, I think most people realized it was a very, very close fight. And I think the thing that many fans and some of those with a casual eye are missing is the counter aspect, and not just always scoring a fight because someone is coming forward and they're the more aggressive fighter, therefore they win the round every single time. There were times I saw several exchanges when it became that way that Canelo won, and there was times where Triple G won. We'll have to go back and obviously watch the fight, score it round by round. I think this is going to be one of those fights that we watch and continue to watch over and over, and you may say, I can see where that round would have gone to Canelo, or I can see how that person came around to giving that round to Triple G. The bar that I watched the fight at was predominantly Mexican fans, and they were obviously rooting for Canelo. And even in the bar, because of their preconceived notions, anything that Canelo did, they were, leaning more towards there. Whereas I could also see just on social media, those who are Triple G fans are leaning more towards their guy, because it's an expectation of styles. So just keep in mind that when you're watching a bout, you have to let the preconceived notions about fighters really go out the door and really assess the fight for what is happening in the ring. And I think the more we do that, the more we can understand how these fights are being scored. And I think the outrage is just people don't understand how these fights are being scored. And then we get an outrageous score and everybody jumps, especially Teddy Atlas, jumps to this is fixed and people are getting paid off and all that. And the sport, that's the last thing the sport needs right now. We have issues with officiating in the NFL, college football. I was watching a Texas USC game at the same time. The officiating was terrible in that, but I'm not screaming going straight to the fix the way people do with boxing. And I understand boxing has earned that reputation with many fights, Pacquiao Horn, Pacquiao Bradley, whatever. But this is not the fight to be bitching and complaining about, boxing being in turmoil and boxing being fixed. I vehemently disagree with that. But just wanted to get my thoughts out on that. I thought it was a great fight. I thought both fighters came out and very intelligent, executed their game plans, and I think both felt like they won, and that puts us in draw territory. I think it's going to be a hell of a rematch. I think the rematch is going to be very, very different from this fight. Also, depending on the time frame of this rematch, they may not fight until next May. Who knows? So we'll see. But everybody have a wonderful Sunday, and see you next time.